actually. All right, everyone. If you wouldn't mind turning your microphones on, I'd like to welcome everybody to this meeting of the South Kingstown Town Council. It is Monday, August 16th. The time is 7 o'clock. This is a regular meeting, but it's irregularly scheduled. We just have one item on the agenda. But the first thing we're going to do is pledge to the flag. Please rise and join us. Thank you. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Council President Collins.
Here.
Council Vice President McEntee.
Here.
Councilwoman Kelso. I'm so sorry. Councilwoman Bergner.
Here.
Councilwoman Rose.
Here.
All members are present.
Very good. Item 4, under new business. A resolution authorizing a request for proposals for consulting services for a professional executive search for recruitment of a new town manager.
Rory McEntee, I'll make a motion to approve 4A.
Jess Rose, second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion?
Just for a point of clarification, just probably for people paying attention, we are sending out an RFP to solicit bids for the search for the town manager. We have not discussed details of the process or if someone asked if we're going to have a search committee or any of those things, we have not fully ironed out, correct?
Correct. And in fact, this search team that we select will hopefully help us in those discussions.
Do we want to share any other parts of the interim town manager can only serve for 6 months, or this is why we're doing this, or is there any pieces that we want to share? Because
all right. Mike, do you want to talk about that provision in the charter which says the period which an interim can serve, although it can be extended? But
Sure. So the charter provides you with the authority to appoint an interim for 6 months. And so we, basically did the timeline to about the middle of December. But if you get to that point, what you can do is you can do a contract for 1, 2, 3, 6 more months. You just can't use the term interim anymore, so it would become a short-term contract for manager. So that's the way you would deal with that.
all right. Any other discussion?
I know we don't have a big crowd here tonight, but are we able to take public comment after we go over the proposal?
On this item?
Yes.
It's a new business item. We don't typically take comment. This is pretty perfunctory. I wouldn't say it needs it.
Okay. I think if there are more people here that showed up that were interested, I might push it a little harder, but okay.
Yeah. Other discussion?
Mike Ursillo, to satisfy maybe some of these requests, maybe you could just give a broad strokes overview summary of what's been provided to us in this RFP soliciting here.
Sure. So we basically, with Terry's help, utilized the RFP that we have used in the past, about 3.5 years ago. So we had spent a good amount of time when we were replacing Steve Alford putting together this RFP. So I have a lot of confidence in what's in it and that we've covered thoroughly all of the necessary pieces, so to speak. And for what it's worth, Steve obviously had a lot of input into this, and he was, manager for 40-something years. So this product that's before you this evening has, basically been vetted very well. There are just some minor changes that needed to be made going forward, which were made. And so I'm very comfortable with what you're voting on this evening in terms of the RFP.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
So the RFP that we have is not available to the community, but could it be, would it be after the meeting, just in case someone, it's not proprietary, is it?
Yes, if the council is going to vote to authorize it, it will become a public document.
It's actually a public document right now.
Any further commentary?
Just to go back to public comment, since there's just 3 people in here, do we just want to ascertain if any of them want to speak?
We didn't put it out that public comment would be taken, so I feel, I don't know, I feel strange about allowing 3 people who deign to show up the opportunity to speak and not the rest of the public. If we're going to allow public comment, it should be open to everyone in the public, not just the 3 people who decided to come in person. I'm not in favor of taking public comment at this point.
Further discussion on item 4.
I'm not quite sure there's much to comment on at this time. I think I'm pretty confident in the documents we've been provided as it relates to what we will be doing and the process we'll be doing going forward. It's pretty rough at this point. We will be soliciting bids for external services as it relates to finding a new town manager. The process seems pretty vague at this point, but we will figure it out more in detail as we go along, especially with our initial meetings and vetting out which firms we go with. But I kind of feel similarly, if we haven't put this out for public comment for anybody to comment, we shouldn't just allow people here to do so.
Any other comments on the RFP? All right. Is there anyone opposed to the motion? All right. That motion carries unanimously. That brings us to the end of tonight's agenda. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved. Any discussion?
I just want to ask if I don't know if I have to add this as an agenda item, if we could maybe get clarification from Mr. Arcillo as to why Exhibit O was removed, just for people who, as pertaining to the AFL-CIO mailer, for people who haven't seen that publicly, if we could.
So you would have to vote to add that matter to the agenda in order to discuss it.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Do we have further commentary on that?
I have commentary on that. At this point in time, we've made a motion to adjourn, and there's been a second related to it. Subsequent to that, there's been a question about whether we can add an item to the agenda. How do we even entertain that potential question, Mike Arcillo?
Well, you could vote not to adjourn, and then someone could make a motion. So there is a motion on the floor to adjourn. If it passes, that's the end of the meeting. If the motion to adjourn doesn't pass, you could have a motion and a vote to add something to the agenda.
Mike, as you are the attorney to us, the town council, can you give us legal advice as to whether we should open up questions relating to that investigation that you just issued to the public?
It's not on the agenda, so I'm having a difficult time responding to anything involving the mailer. Sorry.
Further discussion on the motion to adjourn. All right. Let's take the roll.
Councilwoman Bergner.
No.
Councilwoman Kelso.
Aye.
Councilwoman Rose.
No.
Councilman McEntee.
Aye.
Council President Collins.
Aye.
The motion carries 3-2. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned at 7:09.
Right, now that the meeting's adjourned, you need to add public comment to every town council obviously you don't want to hear from the public.